The royal family returns to Attilan. Maximus has some difficulty understanding the rules of parlay, and Karnak whips up a batch of that Star Trek Into Darkness magic con blood. Guess somebody got the memo, don't kill off major characters in the first season. It's Marvel's Inhumans. Episode 7, Havoc in the Hidden Land. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Inhumans. So yes, of course, spoilers, they are ahead. Alright, so a lot of things happening this episode. Lots of things, in many weird ways. But let me start off with an apology, because obviously I was wrong when I said last week that with Gorgon's death that they have definitely killed off Triton, and so we're not going to see him again. And I was wrong, obviously, with the super magic speedboat return of Triton on the beach, thanks to some previously arranged. All of that sequence to me was really annoying and frustrating. I mean, first of all, like I said, Triton's motorized sub-assault onto land through the water there looked really bad. I mean, it looked fake. And then, of course, we get the close-up of Triton, and he looked bad before, and here he really does, especially with no shirt on. You can see so much more of the makeup. It's flat, it's uninteresting, it has no depth. He has no nipples, which I guess, I don't know, maybe they tried nipples. Maybe they tried it both ways, and the nipples looked weird. They were trying a different color thing. I don't know. It's also ABC, Disney. Perhaps there's certain rules on things that you can and cannot do. But he's definitely, he's got no nipples, which just, again, it looked weird. It just looked odd, but so did he. And even the whole arrival there. There was a whole lot of kind of Deus Ex Machina going on in this episode of just, all right, this needs to happen. We got to get this argument. We got to get this person doing that. So we're just going to make it happen. Got to bring back Triton. Boom. Instant awareness. I was with Medusa in a lot of this episode in the frustration that she was feeling looking back at Anson Mount of like, oh, so he's alive and there was a secret bunker and we've got all this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. How are we supposed to know? Because as the audience, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Like, oh, well, they magically had all of these things rectified and set up. There was no... And the weakness of it, there's no foreshadowing. There was no indication. There were no hints that seemed to be given at any point that Triton wasn't anything other than dead. Kept waiting for many episodes for that to happen. Some hint, some sign, some flashback, some indication. So with this just arrival of the, no, we had a planning in case something happened, there would be a secret meeting point, what, 4 or 5 days down the road? Maybe every day at 11? I don't know what the particulars of that is, but it seemed to be very quick for Black Bolt to just go, all right, give me your lockjaw, we're going over there, and then just shoot over here because it's time. Earthwatch says it's time to pick up Triton. So that was just kind of annoying. And there was a lot of that type of stuff that was going on with this episode, even the stuff with Medusa. Because I can understand some of her position about the need for change, and we're supposed to do things differently, and we can't just, do this. We'll be just as bad as the other side. There is, in some level, very small level, value to those arguments. The problem is, they are all undercut by the fact that we don't know any of that stuff. We haven't seen anything. There was no setup. Everything seemed fine. They seemed a happy marriage. Everything was just great until they got back here. And then we get some indications that there were some issues. So this passionate appeal that we have to change things and there has to be difference from what? We don't know as an audience. We don't get it. We get a few indications, but there is not the type of connection that this forceful, overly dramatic argument against has any appeal. It was just, it's like, I don't care. Change from what? Sure, okay, go ahead. I mean, I thought you guys were okay. but you're not. I mean, you were sort of made out to be the villain, but they didn't really spend enough time at it outside to sort of push that idea and change into what? And Maximus has killed people. Just not killing them doesn't seem right. I mean, there's no argument about a continuity. It's like do the right thing for the right thing, but there's no real justification for any of that, nor any previous background sufficient to make us feel what that type of change would be. And that is a lot of the arguments that Medusa said. Like I said, while there was some idea and thread of point that I sort of got and was with, it was constantly undercut by the feeling that there's not enough background, there's not enough connection. I don't know enough to really get what the point of your argument is. All right, so we get the motivation here for Maximus, is that he just wants to be inhuman. Which, again, while cheesy and weak in its own ideas, creates a lot of problems. And, okay, the whole argument that he had with Orin and sort of gets Orin to turn over and be on Karnak's side, I think the idea behind that, though in some ways was kind of weakly explained, was that she was following him not just because he was human and, like he was saying, wanted to be, better than what he was. I think more the idea is that he didn't need power or any of these extra things. It was just his desire to do the right thing, to have that vision, that strength of personal character. I think what made Orin attracted to him. That not because he was just human, but in spite of not having anything extra, that through his will and will alone, if you want to do a Dune reference, he was able to overcome, have a vision, free his people from that idea of an old way, and become king and lead because of that. I think that was the drive that made Orin connect with him. And when she found out that it was just sort of an insecure, I want to be just like everyone else. I don't want to be better or stronger. I don't want to turn anything around. I just want to be inhuman too, like everybody else, so people will love me. I think that seemed a lot sort of a weaker drive for her, and that's what changed, and that's what sort of pushed her. I don't think it was as well explained in that, because it seemed from the back and forth more of like, what, you just don't want him to be better than what he already is? But there was a lot of dialogue issues that went on it, and anyway, so we've got Maximus's idea here of what he wants to be. And yes, it seems weak and whiny, and there was a lot of scenes in here where Maximus pretty much sounds all weak and whiny of just nobody loves me. Even at the end when he's doing the whole like talking to Declan and about the Terrigenesis, he's like, I just don't have my family here. It's like, you've trying to kill your family. You've killed some of your family as far as you know at this point. And now you're upset that they're not around? Anyway, what bothered me with that idea, if that was his whole motivation, why did he bother with the overthrow anyway? He could just gun under Earth, wait for Declan to finish doing his research, go on, boom, bam, boom, do his little genetic little switch over there and pop back and be like, hey, everybody, my powers took forever to manifest, but here they are. Would have worked just as fine, I think. A lot less deaths, a lot less other stuff going on. I mean, I get Maximus, he's mad, wants power, he wants to overthrow, he has all of these personality issues, but I think that becomes the problem, is now all of his motivation is just out of weaky, whiny, wah-ness, as opposed to any actual plan. Even a perverted evil plan still comes from a position of strength. And I think that's really what sort of bothered me, is after we saw all of this, I was just like, why did he even, if this was his whole plan, to overthrow the council, become king so we can go through a second Terrigenesis, you could have done that secretly. Seems to have no problem going back and forth to Earth and communications and doing all that stuff, so why all the other stuff? Why risk what he wants when he could get it done secretly? All right, the parlay scene was hilarious. Okay, look. I know when the scene starts off and we have Orin explaining the rules of parlay to Maximus, she's not explaining to Maximus, she's explaining it to us, we as the audience. That's why she's saying it. He doesn't really seem to be paying much attention. He should, of course, know all of these rules. And I understand they're playing it for us, but part of me always thinks that, since Pirates of the Caribbean, I think everybody knows what parlay is. And they've used it in many shows many times. But, okay. You're telling Maximus what the rules, we're getting all set up, we've got everyone around, it's a big public thing. Crystal shows up, and I have to agree with her, it seems like we're crawling. Yes, it does appear like you're crawling back. You're right, Crystal, in that point. But they come up, they meet in the center. It's very clear, I love their rules. You meet in the center, you talk, there's no guns, there's no anything. Surrounded by guards, so you can't really do much of anything else. However, they make the proposal, accept or decline, boom. That's what the rules are. That's what they do. Black Bolt makes a very interesting proposal, or Medusa does, for Black Bolt. Fine. Second Genesis, they give us the crown, you can be one of us, and it's all good, everybody gets what they want, boom, fine. He says yes. I accept. Goes and gets Declan, brings him back, turns around and says, I decline. What was the point of it? Especially with the threat of, now don't do anything rash because we're all surrounded by our people, who obviously can't hear anything that happens 10, 15 feet away from them. Maybe you have to have speakers in order to do this to make it all work. It was just so odd. It was just, I accept, let me get the thing, I decline, now go back. Ha! I don't know. I think they understood the rules of parlay, and I don't know if anybody else did, or were paying attention. That's it. That's all I got. And, of course, the return of Gorgon with the magic blood. Yeah, totally Star Trek 2. Totally Magic Con blood right there. Not unexpected, when she had Orin figuring out the things with the DNA. I did give this possibility. Well, I have to apologize about Triton, and I did. I did give this possibility that, maybe Gorgon isn't dead. They might use some of the DNA stuff in order to bring him back, and boom, that's what they do. Of course, they have to do it quickly because there's only one more episode after this. But, as bad as that all is, and as simple and Deus Ex Machina as that is of just fixing the situation, this comes down to the problem of the DNA stuff, and they have missed a very important issue. And I'm curious if they're actually going to explain it, if Karnak will at some point, though probably not, because he went ahead and did the experiment on Gorgon without realizing it. And that's the fact of this. All of the DNA samples they have are post-teragenesis. That means teragenesis has already worked on whatever DNA had done and done the little magic stuff and adjusted it and fixed it and gave them the powers and boom. What they need is pre-teragenesis DNA. Because if you just put the DNA after teragenesis, you don't need the teragenesis. The stuff has already happened to the DNA. And that's what really kind of confused me. Again, with this magic science stuff, take the DNA, combine it in with the person, and boom, that new person would have that DNA and thus those powers. Teragenesis alters DNA. It alters the DNA of the human to make it to whatever the final form is going to be. So if you want to use teragenesis in any fashion, you need pre-teragenesis DNA samples. And that would have ended up being an interesting storyline in Pursuit. That they realized, boom, this person has this powers, this is what I want, but I can't use their already changed DNA because if I expose teragenesis, it won't do anything else. It's already changed. I need to go back and get a pre-DNA sample, some old childhood keepsake or some thing, some research, some ancient, crypt thing. I mean, you could have done a whole interesting kind of adventure at following and trying to get this information. But that also shows that all of Declan's research, again, it's all on people that have already changed. So any of the stuff he has is all post-adjustment. It's like trying to identify the ingredients to something after it's all been cooked and changed and adjusted and transmorgified. It doesn't work. So I was hoping they might try and find that might be something of the issue with the problem. But when they just went ahead and did, okay, Oren, we'll just take your little sample here and we'll use some scientific words and put it in with the teragenic plan and boom. And then we get Frank and Gorgon, looks like at the end there. He's probably fine. I mean, the whole idea of the second Terrigenesis causing issues and problems and Terrigenesis doesn't even affect humans unless they have DNA, unless they already have inhuman DNA in them. So if you've already been changed by Terrigenesis, it shouldn't change you again. Or if it should, this is something that should have a background and discussed long ago and not just the throne. And you can't do it. At least Karnak said, no one's ever done this. Those are just old wives. Those are just fears and myths that have no basis in fact. At least he brought that up. But, you know, we'll find out next week, I guess. All right, just a couple of small things. One, we'll meet at midday. Midday where? Hawaii? Midday Hawaii? I mean, that would make sense if you think that they're in Hawaii. Midday on Attilan? Okay, that's good, but, you know, the moon's rotation is once a month. That's why it's tightly locked to us. We always just see one side. So midday could be anywhere up to potentially 2 weeks from that moment if we're talking about being on the moon. So I was curious what time frame they were using. When Declan arrives at the secret royal bunker, really? That just sounds wrong. Doesn't realize he's on the moon. There is a big gravitational difference. And again, this would be something that would be interesting to use. Even if it was close, that he felt a little weird, that something seemed odd and he wasn't just back on Earth, which has a whole different gravitational thing. I mean, like I said, even if they use artificial gravity, that's fine. Make it feel Earth-like. But you are losing an opportunity there to at least have sort of some interesting physical reaction and storytelling. Yes, Medusa, I agree with you. No one is irredeemable. However, don't just give him what he wants, right? I mean, make Maximus at least go to jail? Something? People did die. It was a coup. He killed a lot of people. Just saying. Hey, and did you notice Karnak did the same thing in the same room that he did at the very beginning of the series? Yeah, so he does the exact same cool, lose the fight by being shot by the last guy, identify everything, and do it again. Cool, he's got his powers back. But like the same moves practically in the same room? Maybe Karnak's powers only work in that one room. Aw, Crystal misses Dave. That's right, you can go back and hang out with Dave. I don't care if we see you again. Declan's line, the Terrigenesis chamber looks like a phone booth. Yes, Declan, it does. And even Maximus said it. Oh, get in the booth. Yeah, you know how dumb it looks. Also, you don't notice Gorgon in the other chamber that whole time until just the end. You get some shake and the lights start going. And then you notice the giant form in the box right next to you. Okay. And of course, by the time it's all over, we get the face-off between Maximus and Black Bolt, where Maximus reveals his evil plan. You can't kill me! I have rigged the dome to blow in case I die. Ha ha ha! That's right, I've set up a nuclear bomb in the middle of town somewhere, and I've rigged it to detonate if my pulse ever stops. Pretty standard evil plan. Not really sure how they're going to end up wrapping. I mean, my suspicion is whatever the whole back and forth ends up being, Gorgon will come back, there'll be a fight, maybe a second Terrigenesis, I don't know. But in the end, Attilan will probably be destroyed and all the Inhumans have to go to Earth where they can enjoy the whole Earth thing. And then we get the whole comical, we need to return to Earth, and now they're actually going to have to. Where they're going to stay, I don't know. What, Hawaii? Oahu? Like a whole new colony of like 1,400 Inhumans suddenly showing up will be noticed. Maybe the Hawaiians will be nice and give them their own island. Probably not. The Hawaiians want everybody off their island. Anyway, I don't know. We'll find out next week. Another thing I'm really excited about is that it's ending, finally. Really, this show's been painful. Painful to watch. Really bad dialogue. Just awful. And, you know, look. I know some of you guys like it, and I'm excited about that. Really. As much as I don't like it, as much as it hurts me to watch it, I am glad that you like it. The show isn't the worst. There are worse things out there than this show. So, if you're enjoying it, great. That is awesome. One thing I can definitely recommend, though, is Thor Ragnarok. Just saw that, just came out. That movie is awesome. Action is great, hilarious. I haven't laughed this much in a long time, and it works. It's a perfect blend. Chris Hemsworth is just perfect. They have found the perfect blend for him. Hulk is awesome. Mark Ruffalo. Valkyrie is amazing. The music's intense. The visuals are awesome. Just a blast of a time. Go see it. That I can totally recommend. But if you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, please, down in the section below. Like I said, if you enjoy this show, great. Tell me about it. I want to be excited for you. If you didn't and you got issues, also put those down too. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Now you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe if you are not. It's quick, it's easy. We're almost done with this, sure, but we're doing The Walking Dead, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, Mr. Robot, and of course the return of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Friday, December 1st, 8 p.m., 2-hour premiere in space. So awesome. Anyway, you won't miss any of those if you are a subscriber. Do that by hitting my face right here, and you won't miss anything. And I'll throw up our latest couple of reviews right here, and you can check those out. So, that's it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.